is my 7th year teaching, and you know, my kids, probably like all of yours, are crazy. Right? It doesn't matter what time of day it is. I don't care if it's after lunch. I don't care if it's the full moon. I don't care if it's the day after Halloween. They are crazy, right? They're crazy, period. And you have got to, essentially, as educators, we are makeshift actors and actresses. We are up here playing a part, and our job is to get our students to want to be in that play with us, right? And one of the best ways for me to get my kids in my play is to use technology. Because I can't get them off their phones, right? They're always on those darn phones. We're a one-to-one school. They can't charge their iPad, but that cell phone is at 99%. Right? It's unbelievable. So I utilize technology a lot because that's my way of getting them pulled in and doing something they want to do anyway, right? Which is fiddle with devices. And probably most of them are better at it than we are, right? Like, oh, hey, wait, how'd you just do that? You know, and that's cool, right? It's a learning experience and kids love that. So I'm gonna dive right in with our first thing. So this is something that I use, I love it. I've been using it all year. It's called classroomscreen.com. So I don't know if your districts are pushing you for agendas and bell ringers and tickets outs and all that good stuff, but mine is. And so this is what I use. I use classroomscreen.com. I keep it up all period long. You can freeze the projector while you move on to something else or take attendance or whatever. So up here I have my bell ringers, my ticket outs, I have anything that's due that day, homework for the next day. It's all going to be up here. And the cool thing about classroomscreen.com is it's free. There's no login. And you can do a whole wealth of things on here. So obviously this is just my standard text box. And you can change the color and the font size, bold it, you know, do all that stuff. I got my nice tropical, relaxing, you know, beachfront property there. But you can change the background to anything that you want or make it a plain color. You can do random names. So all you have to do is copy and paste the roster of your students in there. So if you want to do random participation, you just click choose and the program will randomly choose a student. You can use it for partners. So if you click choose twice, those two are partners. So that's a really cool thing. And you can leave this up too. So once you put all the names in there, you're like, well, I don't want to do it every day. Just leave it up and kind of pull it to the bottom and nobody will see it. And then if you hit the X button, it goes away, but it'll be restored as soon as you bring it back with everything that you originally put in it. There's a QR code, so you can design your QR code and put it right in here if they're doing a scavenger hunt. And we're going to talk about some QR codes here later on too for some other ideas. You can draw. You can do work symbols, so silence, whisper, ask a neighbor, work together. And then I don't know, I don't personally use these unless I'm using Poggle. Anybody familiar with Poggle? Mm-hmm. So I use this with Poggle, right? Stop light. And then the timer and clock I use all the time, right? So we're on the clock teaching. So our administrators want to see us doing something educational every second of every class period. And I've noticed that even if there's a little bit of downtime, if that timer's on running, admin's like, yeah, you got a timer, you're doing stuff. So I just keep that timer up all the time. But in all seriousness, this is a really, really awesome tool for you to stay organized. It's helped me a lot. And my kids are like, hey, it's break time. I teach block, so I have 86-minute classes. And once we get done one activity, I'll literally put in my agenda 5-minute break. And they keep me on there. Marsh, it's break time, let's go. Okay, you got it, and we'll take a 5-minute break. So this is just a really cool way to continuously remind your students of what's going on. I also put my essential question on there for the unit that we're covering or that we're currently in. And then if you want to make it really big, if you hit this arrow on the far right, it'll take down that toggle bar and then you can make it full screen. And that's typically what I do. And just like with any presentation, you hit escape and it goes back to normal. So that's just one thing that I use. It is a staple in my classroom. You'll never walk in and not see this on the board, right? The other thing I want to talk about is GimKit. How many of you are familiar with GimKit? Oh, this is going to be fun. Okay, how many of you have your cell phones? Yeah, I thought so. Get those out for me. So GimKit is this awesome, think of it as Kahoot or quizzes. So it's online review game, but it's awesome because, and I don't know if my students have picked up on this yet, but as we're entering, whenever we do vocab in a new unit, especially with my freshmen, right, this is the first time they're exposed to it probably ever, I have them make a Quizlet, right, your normal Quizlet, with their vocab words. So biogeochemical cycles, that's what we talked about, so they made it. And then we have a competition. Whoever has the best Quizlet gets to share it with me. And then guess what I do? It takes me 2 seconds and I make a Gim Kit. And our review game is done and I've saved myself hours of planning a review game. So we are going to play this just so I can show you how cool it is for a little bit. But I do want to show you how to set it up. So if you are in Gim Kit, so here's 3 that I just have up there, and we'll play Habitat Vocab or something. But I want to show you how to make it. It can be classic, so students against students. You can do team mode, so you set up the kids together and they've got to reach a certain money goal or a time goal, whatever you want. And I always pick classic because it's more fun for me. Time or race, all in, whatever you set it, so we'll keep it at 10 minutes. Starting cash is 0. They can't go below $50. We'll put music, clapping in, and I always do power-ups, and you'll see why, because it's a lot of fun. So then you hit continue. So go to gimkit.com/play and enter that 5-digit code in. All your names will start to pop up and generate. If you don't have your phone, you don't want to use your data, that's totally fine. You can just look at, your partner next to you. And if you're afraid you're not going to do well, put a fake name in and nobody will know. Now, if you start this and a kid's in the bathroom, that's totally okay. The code will remain up there. They can enter the code and enter at any time during your game and start as normal. Even though there's a game and there's a competitive aspect to this, really it's about reviewing, right, for the quiz or the test. And this will definitely do that.
See you up there? Yeah, all right, well, you just better win for me. Oh, there's 2 names out there.
Steelers fan, boo.
I like the draw while you're waiting. Oh, she is.
Yes. Yeah, so you can draw while you wait, right? Because it takes kids longer than others to get in, so they draw all these goofy pictures.
Do you get to see the pictures they draw or no?
No, but it erases automatically, so. All right, so I'm going to start the game. If you're not in there, that's okay. You can keep joining. Is everybody okay if I start? So there's music. Questions should be popping up. They're not up here. Questions popping up. Oh, no, good. Why would that work? Okay, let me try something else. Did you win? Good job. All right, put in that code. We'll try a different one. It's probably because I didn't finish that other one when I made it. This one is going to be very hard. There's a chance that none of you are going to get these right, and that's fine, unless you're in animal science. And my students really, really love this. So we always do this the day before, as typical, right? You review the day before, you take the quiz, and as part of the bell ringer, they always want to play this. They're like, just give me 5 minutes. Let me play it for 5 minutes. Yeah, they love it. They absolutely love this. They have a good time, and sometimes if I'm feeling particularly wild or crazy, I'll narrate. So as the leaderboard goes up, I'm like, oh, Mason edged in first. Come on, Veronica, get there, right? And I do like my sports thing, and then they get really excited. And sometimes I play with them, and then it's beat the teacher, which is awesome. And you'll see why. So as you answer your questions, it's going to show you the scoreboard. You also have the ability to do power-ups. So if your classmate is getting really good, you can freeze them out for 20 seconds and they can't answer any questions. Or you can steal money from somebody, right? So you have to answer so many correctly, get the money, buy try the other things, and then you can go farther where you can hurt your teammate. Yeah, I told you this one was a little hard. Sorry. Just gonna let them play for a little bit. Maybe somebody will do a power up.
How do I get back? And I'm shopping.
I was freaking out if I tell you. It was like almost 100 people.
It's too much. I was only supposed to have 60.
You're doing great. This is the least film that I was running. Like, I was in earlier and I was standing in the line. It's crazy.
Alright, so nobody's used power-ups to hurt anybody. I should have gotten the game. Because I like to freeze the kids out. So it's just really fun because you get to go through all of this. The kids are competing, but they're learning at the same time. At the very end, it'll show you that you can download onto Excel and you can print it out. But it's going to show you a spreadsheet. So how many students got question number 1 wrong? How many got question number 2 wrong? So if all of your kids, or 95% of them, are getting question 10 wrong, that's probably a concept that they're not understanding, and maybe some reteaching may be involved. So it's a lot of fun. It's really easy. It takes 2 seconds to set up. And planning is done, right? And you can take your spouse out to dinner. And you all are having fun because I don't think anybody's really paying attention. Don't pay attention. Oh, somebody finally upgraded money. There we go. I did. Now, how upset are you going to be when I stop?
I want my head to just actually do an actual
Alright, are you going to be okay? Sorry. Okay. I know. So, if you all had fun doing it, you know your kids are going to enjoy it. So that's one of my favorite things to do is give kit. Because it is so easy, and then at the end I can crunch all my data in a matter of minutes, and I can see exactly where maybe I fell short in my teaching, which concepts I need to hit again, or even, okay, we're definitely not on the same page, so we're not going to take the test tomorrow, because we're all going to fail, so we're not going to do that. So it's a really fun game. Yes?
So does everyone have the same question 1? Or one?
No. Nope, it's all switched up, but the system itself,
Okay.
right, so the system, like when I put in question 1, that's what it compiles the data on. So not everybody will have the same one at the same time, but you'll be able to see the data at the end. Yeah,
On average, how many questions do you have?
25 to 30. Yeah, and it's a lot, but I also play this for like 10 minutes. So they cycle through it if the average student time-wise. They'll cycle through it and see every question at least 3 times, which is my goal. So I do set my time a little bit higher than maybe some other things that we do just because I want them to cycle through it. And they're having fun, so they don't actually know it's been 10 minutes. And by the time 10 gets out, they're like, oh, can we do 5 more, 5 more? You know, and that's cool, that's great. So yeah, this is a lot of fun. It's super easy. It's gonna cut your planning in half. So that's SkimKit. So now I'm gonna move on to Flipgrid. Flipgrid, excuse me, is an app. Anybody have iPads at their school? So a couple of you. And how many of you allow your students to use cell phones for educational purposes in school? Okay. All right, cool. So Flipgrid is something that you can download, and if there was a Apple TV, I could show it to you on my phone. But it's not something that you can, I mean, you can download it on, not download it, but you can open it up on a PC. Flipgrid's just a lot of fun because you're able to. So here's my Flipgrids. Not mine, but my students made these as an assignment. So I have a lot of IEP students. And a lot of them have deficits in reading and writing, and I understand that. So I let them do Flipgrids instead of written responses. Not all the time, but occasionally, and it's a lot of fun. And then we'll pick the winner and broadcast the winner's Flipgrid to everybody. So it's just 2-minute clips. They can add graphics, text, backgrounds to it, so they video record themselves, presenting on the answer or the topic or whatever it is that you assign them to do. And you create a class essentially. So I have botany in here, ag careers, natural resource management, ag mechanics. So I had them do an ag mechanics Newton's Law. So I'll just show you one of those real quick. Well, maybe I didn't send it with mine. So if you can share a code. Oh, it's not on me. But there's a code that you create with each class. So you can add a new grid. You can select it only for your kids. So only if they're logging in with your at DoverSD.org. Or you can open it up to everybody. You can share out a code. You can make it public. So depending if they're doing it at home, maybe they don't have access to the school's Wi-Fi. I know that's a problem with us, so they can still do it. If I set it that way, they can still do it at home on their personal account. You name your grid and you can make it. And then all of these, it's like I said, 2-minute clips. I wish it would let me log in so I could show you one of them because they're quite funny. There we go. All right. So here's just a couple of my laws of motion. So he did this at home. Can't really hear it with this. So he's saying every object has an equal and opposite reaction. So it hit it, came back. Yes, it is messy. That's one of my football players. I expect to know less. So it's just a lot of fun because they can do this wherever they want. It only takes a couple seconds. He didn't get too crazy with his, but you can put text on it. You can add other graphics, whatever you want. That's my dirty shop table. Pardon the mess. And there's music in the background. You just can't hear it right now. Sorry about that. So Flipgrid's a lot of fun. They can do it right on their iPads or their phones. You set up the class, you give them a code or open it up to the public, and they can just search your class and do whatever your assignment is that you want them to do. I actually used this when I was out. So this was one of my sub plans because this is shop students. And of course, if you have a sub that isn't certified in the shop, they can't be in the shop and the kids get antsy. So here they can be in the shop, have the tools in the background, but not touch them. So they're one step closer as opposed to being in the classroom. So that's Flipgrid. The next thing I want to talk about is PDF to Pages. This is going to be super quick. I don't have anything up here to show you. But how many of you beg, borrow, and steal? Right, all of us. We would go literally insane and none of us would be teaching if we didn't have that ability or opportunity. How many of you download great labs, great PDFs, and you're like, oh, I want to change that essential question. Or, oh, that extension activity, I just want to add a couple things to it. Well, PDF to Pages is a free application. You can download it on your phone. You can download it on your iPad. It's actually, you can download it as an application on your work computer, your home computer. If I could connect mine and show you what it looks like. It's like an orange icon with like a stylus, just kind of writing across it. And it's super easy. You open it up, you import any PDF that you have, and it's not going to convert it per se to a Word document, like you have to pay online at certain sites. but it opens it so that you can actually edit it. So you can add your own text box, you can add images, you can delete some things, whatever you want. It's totally free. The only weird thing that kind of frustrated me when I first started using it is when you first open it up and you convert it, we'll say to pages. It'll say something about you need to buy this program, blah, blah, blah. Just hit cancel and keep going. I mean, it's a really easy way to get around it, but it works. So I've been using it for a year, and every time it says purchase, I cancel and keep going. It's a PDF to pages.
Yeah, okay.
So I'll show you. Yep, it's the next thing on your list.
Yes, I am.
I'll kind of show you. This isn't it.
Yep, Christmas. They all
Yeah, it's much easier if you do it like on your iPad or your computer. This one, you have to like go to your app store, find it and download it. But it's super easy, it's free, you can do whatever you want, and then print it right from there. So it's really nice. The next thing, move right along here, is Weebly. How many of you have a Weebly webpage? A couple of you. So I have Weebly for my classes. I'm just gonna pop this up. The picture's kind of embarrassing, so I'm not gonna scroll down. We're gonna let it the way it is right there. So Weebly is a free website that you can create for you as a professional. You can create maybe if you're in charge of JECA or skills or FFA, you can create your chapter account through here. And you can make your chapter webpage. You can do your professional account. And what I do for my students is all of them have to make a Weebly, and they create a task list portfolio. So how many of you operate on task lists? Probably a lot of you, right? Okay, so the Nocti task list. It's really hard to keep track of, right? Like you're into it, you're, if it's horticulture or ag mechanics or engineering or whatever, you're looking at this task list midway through the semester, you're like, well, yeah, I know I've covered half of this. Probably in a couple different places I don't really remember, and I don't have any of the student work to really show that I did it. So I use Weebly because, well, I can't keep it all straight, and I know my kids can't keep it all straight. So we use Weebly. So they take picture evidence of anything that they're doing. If it's not something necessarily they can take picture evidence of, then they're writing it. And so for each tab, so I have tabs of my classes, but they're going to have tabs saying which task item it is. So if it's evaluating the soil, which is a horticulture task list, then they're going to explain to me the concepts of it. It's essentially a short answer on a quiz. So how do I do it, and then maybe what does it look like, and they're going to label what task list item it is. So at the end of the semester, I can see that, I can show my CTE director, hey, this is what we covered in class, this is my evidence and my proof, they're ready for the Nocti. And then my kids, especially my ag mechanics students who are going, probably not a lot of them are going to go to college, they're going right into the workforce, this is a ready-made resume for them. So they tweak it just a little bit, and they have all of these awesome tasks that competencies and skills they know how to do, and they have evidence for it. And it takes no time because I already made them do it, and it was very great. So it's something really awesome that they can take home with them. The other thing that I put on here that pertains to Weebly and digital portfolios is I just grabbed the very last page of that packet I gave you. This is, I just used a different subject because I know we all don't teach the same thing, so I was trying to pull a bunch of different things here. So this is an online portfolio example rubric, so things that you could have them do. This one happens to be English too. So if your students are in, say, visual arts or photography, this would be really something awesome to set up their freshman year. So it's their photography portfolio. That is now what all professional photographers are using, is online digital portfolios. So starting them early and forcing them essentially to do it through a grade, they're going to be really appreciative when they graduate because everything's going to be done already for them. So here's just an example of a subject kind of outside of the realm of task lists that you can still use, something like Weebly or any other online portfolio. There are a few, I happen to like Weebly because I think it's easy and it's free. So that's why I use Weebly for myself. Is there any questions about Weebly? And another thing, I would encourage the students, if they are going to do this, depending on your district guidelines, I would encourage them to log in using their personal email. Because for us at my school, 6 months after they graduate, everything gets deleted. And they'll lose everything. So I always say, use your personal email, use your mom's email, ask her, or use your parents, whatever. That way they have it forever, and then they can transfer it. Because senioritis hits hard. And when you're like, hey, it's May, you're 2 weeks away from graduating, I need you to go in and change the email address of all of your online accounts. They're not going to do it at all, right? They're not even thinking about that. They just want to put the cap and gown on and get out. So I encourage them to do their personal right off the bat. So that's Weebly. So I'm good to move on to my next one? Okay. All right. So Paul Toon, how many of you have heard of the new flexible instruction days for snow makeup? Yeah. How many of you are super excited? Yeah, a couple. I'm not. Right? I don't know why. I feel like it's going to be a ton of work for us. Hey, we might have a snow day on Friday, so be ready with substitute lesson plans Friday that you can send home with the kids. What? How are we going to keep them accountable? Some of us teach really hard subjects. How are we going to give them a piece of paper and say, figure it out at home when I'm not there to help, right? So I started doing some research, and I was thinking about screencasting. I remember I took a class at Penn State, and it was online, and all my professor did was have PowerPoints where he talked over the top of the PowerPoints, which was cool, right, because I could hear his voice, and he explained some things. So I kind of took it to the next level. So Paul Toon is super awesome. Let me find it in my plethora of tabs here. So Paul Toon is a way to screencast without using your face. Okay, because maybe you're doing this really late at night, you don't have your makeup on, or you've got your, oh my god, I just taught little kids for 8 hours and I'm exhausted look. And you don't want your face on there because it's quite embarrassing. I get that. So this is screencasting without using your face whatsoever. It's just your voice. So you can use a voice overlay. You can stop it, pause, give them time to work, and then pick up. So something that I like to do when I'm out is, I know certain kids in my class, very habitual, and they'll do something stupid, and so in the middle of playing this, I'll say, hey, Mason, get off the fish tank, right? And it's funny because he's probably at the fish tank and all the kids laugh, and it's hilarious because it's, I'm there, but I'm not. And the cool thing about this is you can upload PowerPoints you already have done, okay? So, you can import anyone. I had an engineering one that I was going to import here, but I can't hook up my computer. But you can just import it and do whatever you'd like. So, we'll start with a blank Paul Toon real quick. It does take a second, especially if you're uploading a PowerPoint. Give it a second. It takes a while to get it done. So pick whatever you want. So we'll do a cartoon. So you can add your slides in here. Here's your play button. Over here's a bunch of different scenes. So when you go to add a new slide in PowerPoint, you can pick the template. This is essentially your template. So you can pick whichever one you want. So image grids, we'll pick this one, and I'll put it in there, and then I can pick a bunch of images, and then I can talk, and I can explain it. So I'll ask a question. Stop, take 1 minute, talk to your partner, and answer this question. Go. And then you can literally have a 1 minute pause on your video, and then after a minute, it'll pick up and it'll say, okay, let's share some of your answers. Pause it on here. Like, you pause it as the person operating it. So if your sub comes in, they're hitting play and walking away. You're not doing anything. They, shout it out, and then after a minute, your voice picks up again, it goes to the next thing, and you keep talking. So it's a lot of fun. You can put anything that you want in there. Voice, graphics, real-time photos. You can put additional video clips in there if you want another video to be playing in there. But it's a lot of fun, and it's really easy for those flexible instruction days when you know that your kids probably aren't going to do it. But if you do it this way, and you make jokes and you're talking to them, maybe they will pay attention. Maybe they will do that flexible instruction work, on the snow day between, sled rides in the back of the four-wheeler. So, I'm from the country, that's what we do. It's probably not normal. Are there any questions about Paul 2? Paul 2 is one of my favorites, so that's the one that I use, and it's relatively easy, in my opinion. And then if you go to the third page or the second physical page of this, I give you a whole list and some tips of how else to screencast, what other applications. So screencasting tips, I just have 5 real quick tips there for you. And then video creation, so you'll see those 5 listed. And I have like some tips for you underneath each one. Infographics for flip lessons is after that. So you can use any of those, play around with them. They're all really good. And it kind of depends on your style as an educator and what you're teaching your kids and who your kids are. And you know that a lot better than anybody else. So I wanted to give you options, but I just wanted to show you Paul 2 because it's one of my favorites. And it sounds cool. So, any questions about that before I move on? Okay. All right, so my next thing are QR codes. So I have a couple spread out. You'll see 2 of them. One is blue and says scan me, and one is just your generic black QR code. So if everybody can click the blue scan me, you're not gonna, well, maybe I can get you to log in if I open it up. So this QR code I use for my ag mechanics class. Were you able to get in? Do I have it closed? Yeah. Okay. Thought I might have it closed.
Exactly. And I'm okay with that. Because less than can go wrong.
Okay, try again and it should pop this up. You have to refresh it. I opened it up.
I'm going to be a spooky ghost like
Yeah, so if you guys are unfamiliar with QR codes, now you don't even have to open a QR scanner. You just take a picture of it, and it'll pop up at the top, it'll pop down with the notification. Click on that, and it'll open up the URL for you. If anybody has Snapchat, Snapchat does the same thing. Alright, is everybody good? Alright, so this is just one example of QR codes that I use in the classroom. So this is for all my ag mechanics classes. So at the end, this is essentially their time card. So at the end of shop class, they've got to scan it. They enter it in. The employee, obviously, is their name, what date it is, and then I go through and ask them questions, and I make them reflect upon their work in the shop. So what was their attendance like? Attitude, attention to detail, communication, and initiative. So I made them reflect on their own work that day, and then I go in and give them a class participation grade based on my observation and what they scored themselves. So one way you can use QR codes, quick and easy. I just keep it up on the door. The kids know after the first week or so, they can't leave without scanning it. They do it and leave. I have another example. So if you click on this generic QR code, and I'm going to show you how to make QR codes too in a second. So if you scan this for me,
how to kill a chicken.
This is going to take you to a video. This is going to take you to a video. I believe it's how to operate a jigsaw. Yeah? Okay. So again, this was another project that my ag mechanics students had to do while I was gone. They made safety how-to videos. And then I created them, I uploaded to YouTube. I created this QR code. These QR codes are on the machine. So on the jigsaw, it's on the jigsaw. So you have a freshman class come in,
This doesn't even work.
they don't know how to use it, they have to troubleshoot, scan this, and they see the video of my seniors being weirdos. So,
Do you have the
yeah,
QR app?
don't reflect. You look at the kids.
Like it?
Yeah, go ahead. So you'll see these all over my shop. This was something, this idea of using these and posting them on machines is something I stole from another teacher, Doug Brown. How many of you go through a 339 audit for your program? So this is a huge combination. If you have these QR codes with safety, post it on your machines in your shop or any of your pieces of equipment, 3D printer, whatever, you will get a positive combination on your 339 audit for this. And it's easy, it's fun, and again, I didn't do it. The kids did it. I made an assignment, they made the video. The most work I did was copy and paste a link and hit print. Right? So easy. So I'm going to show you how I did that.
On Google Docs.
So there's two different ones you can use. So this is QRCodeGenerator.com. It's simple, right? You just put in free text. So, maybe you're doing, I'm an ag teacher, so I do FFA. So like National FFA Week, I would put like clues in here for a scavenger hunt around the school. And so my free text, I just type whatever I want, and it's going to display in the QR code. Or you can do a URL, contact phone number, text message, whatever you'd like. This is really simple, really easy. It's going to print out like this. So it's going to look like your generic black and white QR code. Okay, no frills, but easy and quick. The next one is QRstuff.com. This one you can switch up just a little bit. So the blue one that says Scan Me was made from QRstuff.com. So you can change the color of it. You can add text in it in case kids see a QR code and want to lick it instead of scanning it for whatever reason. You can put directions and scan it. That's what you're supposed to do. So on here, this is where you do that. So you can customize it a little bit to your liking. Most of the QR codes that I use are purple, because that's my favorite color. Everything is my room purple. So the kids kind of expect that. And you can put in any data type you want. So this has a lot more than the QR code generator. So this is if you really want to get in depth and do a little bit more. This is the one that you would use. Either one is great though, and it'll do the same thing.
Is there a way to do a QR code as like an exit ticket where they put information in?
Absolutely. Yep. So that would be set up just like I set up that last one. So that would be set up through here. So I use a Google form for that. So you just share out the link on a QR code, and the Google form could say, what does homeostasis mean and how is it regulated in the body? And they have to type it in on this form. Yep. Or whatever platform you use. Maybe it's Schoology or Google Classroom, anything like that.
Did you say that the safety videos you uploaded to YouTube first?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. And I did ask parent permission, so they all had to sign a form saying that I was allowed to use those videos and upload them. And I have those still on hand. This was my last year's class. Any other questions about QR codes? Okay. All right, the last thing I want to show you is ZipGrade. And hopefully we'll have a little time at the end to share out. ZipGrade has literally saved my life. I use it for everything all the time. I am an adjunct professor at HAC, and I teach OSHA and electrical safety. All of my tests and quizzes at the college level, I use ZipGrade. So, what is ZipGrade? Oh, I'm so glad you're back. So, ZipGrade is you make your own test, you make your own Scantron, you take a picture of this, and it grades itself. No bulky machines. You know those dumb machines in the faculty room that you gotta slide the old school thing through? And then like halfway through, one gets jammed, and the other teacher's like, are you kidding me? You do this every time. And you can't get it fixed. You're fixed. to. It just happened last week. All the time. So, you all have a test that's shared among you. It's 18 questions. Don't feel the need to answer all 18. Take a stab at it. I took this and I failed, so don't feel bad if you don't know any of these. They're very hard. And then just answer them on your Scantron.
Did you use a pen? Did you use a pen or a pencil?
Alright, so that is such a great question. I would prefer you to use a pencil, because if you make a mistake, you can erase. And then the kids will say, I don't ever make mistakes. And they use a pen anyway and make a mistake. But like a regular Scantron, if you cross it out, because you used a pen and tried to mark something else, it's going to pick up as the wrong answer. So if you can use that, I'll show you how to do it. So just answer a couple of these ones here for me, just so you're consistent. Does everybody have one? Oh, yeah. So are there 5 questions?
I just make one copy of the test. They don't you can I
I'm really enthusiastic and it's making this quiz like seriously. It's not going to be great, it's not going to stuff your 80 hours. It's usually going to stuff Who's ready for me to grade? Alright, so I've got the app on my phone. You can see, it's just a website, so you can also do it from your computer. I do it on my personal device because it's 100 times easier to walk this around and take photos than have the kids come up here and put it in front of the camera. But you can do that on your regular school computer if you'd like. So I have a whole list of all the quizzes that I have. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to select this one. I named it General Knowledge. And this is the screen you see. Scan papers, review, edit, repeat. So I'm going to scan the paper, and it looks just like the camera, right? So who said they were ready? You're ready? Okay. So if you see that there's 4 black dots on the outside edge of the actual Scantron, I'm going to line my camera up with that.
Oh, that's fun.
And Susan, do you mind if I tell them what your score was?
Yeah, I wanted to try to give that
Right, you understand exactly what I need to do. So Susan received an 8 out of 18, 44.4%. Her test is graded. I can grade all of your tests in a matter of 2 minutes. There's almost 100 people in here.
Does that save that?
It saves it forever.
Like after you like.
So now let's say Susan was a bad kid, and she used pen. And her number 3 answer, she marked B, and then crossed it out and marked A. My answer sheet is going to mark it wrong. So then I click review, and it pops up all of her answers. And so when I go to 3, I'm like, oh, okay, you did get it right. Because you marked the right one, but you used 10, which is what you want to.
Freezing.
So then you can go in and manually change the grade.
So what
Yeah, they were.
take a photo?
Yes.
I don't make the classes.
So if I go to review papers, I only did hers, it would show all of them. And then you click on it. And it yes, I'm going to show you. Okay, so I'm going to show all of you adults. I'm going to pass my phone around. Go ahead and play with it while I show you some of the other cool things you can do in the actual thing. So you can scan the paper, show it, you can review it, go back, toggle between other tests. So here's all of my quizzes. Now I will tell you, ZipGrade will only let you scan and grade 100 quizzes a month for the free trial. It is $3 a year. So, I put forth my own money, and because I'm gonna tell you what, that's $3. I would pay that a day using this. It is amazing. So here's some of my exams. So if I go into my general knowledge, which is what you guys took, it's going to show me my score distribution. So of course we didn't scan a bunch. So actually let me go to a test that has more things in it. And you can, I have not done this, but you can divide it into classes with students. And I don't get that far into it. But let's say I'll go to my Ocean 30 midterm. So here's my score distribution. Here's my quiz statistics, minimum, maximum, average, median, and then here is my data. Again, I don't have to do anything. It's already done, right? Question 18, 35 of them, I forget how many kids I had in here, got it right, so 94%. So discrimination factor was -0.06, and the alternate answer, well, I guess the kids messed it up because it was 5% of, I guess they didn't fill it out. And then here's some of my students, so it's all still saved. And this is from my last class that I did, so again, I can click on it, I can see what he got right, what he got wrong. Okay? So, and you can do that with every quiz. Go to the statistics, you can download them as PDFs if you want to save all of it, however you want to do it. Is it easy to clear out? So each new class that you do, well, if you're overlaying it in the same one, you'll clear it out. So like if we went in, and took this test, it would clear out that of those students. Unless I did it in a different class, which I don't, because I don't, right, I don't want to keep everything. But if you go and as soon as you start taking a new class, reviewing the exams, it's going to push the old one out. Yeah, or you can save it and do it under classes. You can do it. So this is the answer key. So this is super easy. They have like pre-generated ones, 20, 50, 100. I never use those because we don't fit the mold. We're CTE, we're always crazy. So I hit custom answer sheet. Here's all of my other previous ones. So you'll see that you had little quarter sheets of paper because I wanted to save the trees. So I made it small, but I could have made it, one per page if I wanted. But they're all saved all the time. So if I go to new answer sheet, I'll put the name. You can select a bunch of other things that you want them to fill out or not fill out. I don't know if maybe your school uses student IDs. We do, but we don't use them to mark tests. But you can put that in there. And then you can choose. So you could do multiple choice with alternating answers, just regular multiple choice. You can do true and false. You can do all kinds of stuff. Select your number of questions. And then in here you can put, say it's matching, for instance. You could go all the way out to F, right? So they could have like a ton of different multiple choice choices that they can choose from for matching is how I use that. So it's a lot of fun. It's super easy, and the first time you use it with the kids, you're like, oh my gosh. Like, yeah, magic.
You have to scan the answer key, right? You make an answer key.
I make the answer key. You can do it one of two ways. You yourself can actually do it, or on the app, if you click answer key, you can just click it, which is what I do instead of wasting a paper.
Right.
Yep, so you just click the answer key. You made a mistake. It's midnight, whatever. A kid catches you. 2 seconds, go and change the answer, rescan. Done. Yeah.
One thing that some people do is they laminate their charts, or you can laminate that answer sheet and then you use that. It's just have them erase their...
Yeah, with like an expo.
And then you're not even using any old.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
And I'm not super tech savvy, I'm very old school, but I don't know you, that is a great website, I have used it before. I found it a great great for quizzes, just like what you do, some of the shorter quizzes. Once I got into like the 100 questions, I found that that was a little tedious just on my part. So you guys can do, play around with this. This is a wonderful website. It really does save you a lot of time. And that's speaking from someone who, I'm all paper and pencil. But this is, if you have to go out that night and go have fun, like you're going out on a date or whatever, this will save you a lot of time. So thumbs up on that one.
So I have about 5 minutes left. So I want to answer, first of all, any questions that you have for me. All right. Cool. So I left some space after each of my tech tips for you. So what I'd like to do now is just kind of have an open share. So how, if you use any of these, you use something else. As we were going through, we were like, oh, that would be really great to use in culinary. If, or this way, can we just share that out? Any ideas or ways that you use these things in your class? Yeah.
I use a Flipgrid for my.
Hold on 1 second.
I use Flipgrid for my task. I keep the tab and turn the tab down in 5 minutes. I put up the QR codes for the students. They'll go, they'll scan it. They've already got the rubric. They know how I'm grading it. I demonstrated it. Now they go do it.
Perfect.
And we have 20 kids and 250 tabs. They can pop them out. They love it.
Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. I can look up.
Yeah. Some have some of the tasks are long.
Oh, right.
Chunk it out.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Anybody else in here? I use hold on, guys. We're sharing. It's collaborative learning. Okay? Yeah.
The Flipgrid gives you a QR code. When you send the grid up and you put the task in, it gives you the QR code. You don't have to make it, it's there. Sorry.
Thank you.
I use a how-to for recruiting, so I use pictures that we've taken throughout the year from our school to like showcase activities and clubs, and then we do the voiceover and we make cartoons. So
That's a great idea.
and I can use cool music.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Who else wants to share some things they use in the classroom? 2 really great ideas.
What your needs and averages are.
All right, well, hey, thank you so much for attending this workshop. Hope you learned something.